Alright guys, here's the deal. I was tasked with the very important mission to create a soundcheck song for my band, Purge the Heretics. And what is a soundcheck song, you might be asking? Well, it is a song that you exclusively play just during your soundcheck. When we are up on stage and we are doing our soundcheck, usually there is a lot of people in the venue that are going to be attending the show that evening. And for those that have never experienced us or ever listened to us before, we don't want to give away anything that we're going to be doing that night. So here we are, creating a soundcheck song. And I thought this was a great opportunity as well, because I just received some awesome new plugins from my friends over at Solemn Tones, and I want to put these plugins to good use, so I want to challenge myself to pretty much exclusively use Solemn Tones plugins to create the soundcheck song. So I say, let's create the best damn soundcheck song ever. Let's get into it. So to start out our sound check song, I'm gonna kind of kick it off with some guitar. I am the guitar player of the band, and I always like to lead with guitar because it gives me my chord progression, it gives me some of the melodies and stuff like that. Also, I can kind of imagine the drums and bass fitting around it, so that's why I like to start out with guitar, and I have chosen the Runeforge Fenrir to do the guitar part from Solemn Tones here. So I did a review on this plugin a few weeks ago. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. It goes into further detail on it. I am not going to go into very much detail at all on this plugin. I'm going to kind of mess around with it a little bit. Let's see if we can find a good guitar tone for ourselves. So right off the bat, we have this. Which is not bad whatsoever, but I want to add a little bit more gain and then also mess around with the EQ a little bit. I'm gonna bring down some of those lows, and typically I like to put the lows right around 11 o'clock. Let's see, mids around 12. I'm gonna bring up those highs just a little bit as well and turn on the carve switch. And let's try out some more gain here. Let's go a little bit more on that. Okay, and then more gain obviously means more noise, so I'm going to ride up this noise gate just a little bit. I like around 12 o'clock, I believe. I'd say that's pretty good, actually. Perfect. So we have that going for us. Let's figure out a good intro piece, something maybe kind of riffy that comes in. I typically like to stay around the 12th fret, 13th fret, stuff that you would hear from a band like Bless the Fall. I take a lot of inspiration from them. So let's see what we got here. I can try even like skipping strings here. There we go. I like that. Maybe I can do a switch between 3 different notes, including the root note, which will be the open. Yeah. But I want to add a little higher on the last one. And then let's spice it up a little bit by adding some little quick chugs in between. I feel like it needs it. It's just a little bit slower of a piece, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want a little bit of finesse, a little bit of that seasoning in there. There it is. There it is, guys. Cool, so that'll be our opening riff, I think. And then for the next part, I was thinking of something kind of As I Lay Dying-ish with just kind of some straight chugs, something very punchy, something very rhythmic, kind of hits you in the face. Let's see here. Think I got something? Maybe I can do those quick ones. And then maybe end with some triplet feels. That sounded pretty good. That kind of hits the nail right on the head, doesn't it? I'm thinking of a chord progression. I want to add kind of a chorusy piece because I love choruses. They're the main part of a song. They're usually really huge, really catchy. It's the thing that gets stuck in your head most of the time, or at least in my own opinion, it does. So I'm thinking a 4-chord progression or possibly a 3-chord progression. Let's see what we got. Let's see, I want to do something that I don't usually do. I like to start on the 8th fret. I like to do the open as well, but I think I start on the 8th fret a little bit more than usual, so we'll go on the open on this one. That sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah. Cool, and then that intro piece I can bring right back around right after the chorus to kind of finalize things out. That sounds awesome. Okay, let's take a look at the lead guitar parts. So for lead, I'm gonna need a little bit more gain on it, and then I'm going to lower the noise gate because that's just gonna completely cut off a lot of my leads, especially if I wanna hold stuff out. But let's add some delay. Oh yeah, it's very quiet here, so let's raise it in the mix. And then I like a bigger tail on it. Sounds pretty good, actually. Let's leave the high cut where it's at. I like that. And then I want to add some reverb as well. So let's wetten it up. Let's make it huge and massive. Cool, that sounds great. I might change these settings just ever so slightly, but I think this is a great starting point for this. So as far as leads go, I was hoping to hold out some leads during like the chorus, like a... Let's do that, but let's bring that up on a higher scale. Where let's see what happens if I palm mute it all. See, let's refine that just a little bit. So I'll do like the root notes open and then I'll palm mute the rest. And I'll kind of snap that low root note too. I'm happy with that. I think that'll go great over that chord progression that we have. Let's go ahead, let's move on to some bass guitar. Let's see what we got. So I took the guitar that we wrote in the last section and I went ahead and recorded it. I did quad tracking, so I recorded the guitar 4 separate times, and I have 2 right guitar and 2 left guitar, and this is what it sounds like. So it sounds really good, sounds really wide, sounds very massive, except it's still a little bit thin, and that is where bass guitar comes in. So I chose the Sanguine Bass for today's bass guitar from Solemn Tones, so I'm wanting to keep everything within Solemn Tones for this video, and usually I use the Loki Bass 2 plugin from Solemn Tones, and that is a great plugin, but I wanted something a little bit different. So the Sanguine Bass is modeled after an Aristides 5-string bass guitar, and I've always wanted an Aristides guitar. It's just, this is the closest I can get, at least for the moment. So when you load up the Sanguine Bass, this is what it looks like. It wants you to go up here and choose a preset. So let's check out some of the presets. I'm going to turn it on to clean DI. I've already MIDI mapped everything for the bass just to kind of keep some of the guesswork out for us. So let me turn off the guitars and let's see what this guy sounds like. So that sounds really nice. It sounds really warm, sounds very rich. I'm definitely liking that. So that's the clean DI. Let's see what Sanguine Bass sounds like. A little grindier for sure. Noisy mid forward. Even grindier. Okay, bring the heat. Okay, so far I would say Bring the Heat is the winner for me. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Shattered Crystal. So a lot of high end in that one, very forward. The Bell Tolls. Okay, and then Core Studio. Wow, we are getting a crazy range of different sounds in this. This is absolutely awesome. But I will say, I think Bring the Heat is probably the winner for me. Yeah, it's just like that perfect amount of clean DI with a little bit of grit just to make things a little bit aggressive. So let me show you guys what this sounds like with the guitar. All right, and without the bass. Like, you guys hear how much of a difference that is? The bass guitar makes such a massive difference in that. So I'll do that again. I'll just kind of switch between the two. I'll let you guys listen to it. That just makes all the difference. That makes the mix sound so much beefier, just really fills in all those different spots in the low end, really glues the guitar together. Though I will say the bass is a little bit forward, so let me go ahead and kind of figure out where that gain needs to be. I think I'm liking it right around there. It was just a little forward, it was a little loud, and then also in the Sanguine Bass, something that's really cool, you can do octave drops, there's key switches in here, you can do the playing, and you can make it sound very human. As we all know, MIDI bass tends to sound a little fake, but damn, does it sound good. So there is bend intensity. You can kind of mess around with that. There's decay intensity, there's tune, slide speed, there's string noise, left hand noise, and mute noise. So you can put in the human error or take it off if you'd like. And you can also do some slapping on the bass. You can do force slap, auto slide, and there's 4 different modes that you can go into. Obviously, for this style of music, we're not going to worry about the slapping part for the bass guitar, but I just think it's really cool that Solemn Tones has added all these different things just to kind of bring in some of the humanity into the bass guitar. And then for tone, you have all kinds of different things. You can EQ certain areas of the bass. You can do the enforce and do different gain structures between, you know, kind of like smooth to boxy to more like more spiky, kind of saw-like, all that. It's really cool. I absolutely am digging this plugin. This sounds fantastic. The Bring the Heat is definitely the preset for me. So now that we have the bass down, let's go ahead and see what we got going on for drums. Okay, so now that we have the guitar and the bass guitar already squared away, I say let's move on to the drums and bring some life into this song. So I want something that is very punchy and something that kind of slaps you in the face. So I have the Mjolnir Drums from Solemn Tones already loaded up here. This is Solemn Tones MIDI drum sampler, and I'm gonna go ahead and check out the different drums individually and let you guys kind of hear the differences between them. So we have a snare. You have your hi-hat. You have your crash. There's a splash. Your other crash. A china. A ride. Your different toms. And your kick. So right off the bat, I'm noticing the room sounds absolutely amazing on this drum kit, and that is really important. A room is extremely important for a drum's sound. It's about the last 50% that you need to bring life into the mix and kind of glue things together. So looking at the overall kind of setup here on the plugin, it looks like they're keeping things very simple, and I absolutely appreciate that, because you can come in here and you can get your awesome drum sound with ease. So I already have a drum beat that is already MIDI mapped out, so let's go ahead and hear what it sounds like. Okay, so that's actually sounding really good so far, though I'm missing a little bit of excitement and life in the toms, kick, and snare. Let's check out a few of the different presets and see if we can get that. So we have natural. Okay, so natural to me sounds a little bit less mixed down. And then Maxime's drums. Okay, so there is the life in the snare that I've been looking for. So if we can just bring it into the toms and kick, but so far Maxime's drums are sounding awesome. There is giant room. Okay, and then no room. And then only room. Okay, so the only way that I would probably use no room and only room is if I wanted to mix them separately, which I think is really cool that they added that in here. But so far I would say Maxime's drums are the winner at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and switch on over, but let's go ahead and go over the different controls that we have here. You have your fader for your kick, snare, toms, cymbals. You have your mixing. You can get a little bit more into it with the different faders and stuff. You have your room and your direct as well on each of the different drums and cymbals. You have your room, your direct, and master down here as well. And there is an invert pan. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and it's going to kind of totally swap the panning on it from drummer's view to listener's view, I believe. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like that a lot. So let's head back to the main view, and then there is routing, and you can do all kinds of MIDI mapping and different routing here. So let's head back to the main view, and one of my favorite parts of this plugin is the humanize. I really like this because this will play with a lot of the different velocities on the different hits and stuff. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and play it. So you can definitely hear the differences in velocities in there. Obviously, I don't want it completely up, but I think that's a really cool feature. So I am going to go ahead and leave it right here where they have it. But let me go ahead and kind of mix in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and throw in the bass and the guitar, and let's see if I can get a good drum sound out of it. Yeah, I think that is sounding killer. That is sounding massive. That is sounding super exciting. I am loving the Mjolnir drums, and dang, guys, that room sound on it sounds absolutely amazing. Okay, now that we have our drums, we have our guitar and our bass guitar, it is time to reveal the soundcheck song. Let's check it out. Guys, these plugins from Solemn Tones completely brought to life this soundcheck song. It just sounds so freaking good. So the Sanguine Bass just has this really nice rich low end that fills in all the different gaps and glues the guitars together really nicely. And I'm used to using the Loki 2 bass plugin from Solemn Tones, and don't get me wrong, it's still a great plugin, but after using the Sanguine Bass, I think I'm preferring its richer and warmer low end sound now. And as far as the Mjolnir drums goes, they have a fantastic room sound. So whenever I talk to musicians, we always talk about the hit of the drum or the slap of the drum, or in case of a snare drum, maybe a kickball to the face kind of sound. Well, that is only the first half of the battle. If you have a great room sound or reverb sound on your drums, it will make them sound more lively, make them sound much more massive. You'll have a bigger mix, and it will glue the mix together really, really nicely. And as far as the Runeforge Fenrir, I did do a review of that just a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen that video, I will have the link for that up on the top of the screen. I absolutely love the Fenrir. It is a great amp simulator. It is not thin sounding whatsoever. It is very thick and very aggressive. It is everything right in all the right ways on that plugin. So it is absolutely amazing. And please let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of the different plugins that we checked out today, along with what did you think of the soundcheck song that we created as well. I think the song is ready to be presented to the band, other than throwing a few vocals over the top, but it will definitely not disappoint, that is for sure. Anyways, if you guys are wanting to get your hands on any of the plugins that we checked out as well, I will have a link for you down in the description below. If you are enjoying my videos in any way, shape, or form, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton here on the channel. And with that being said, my name is Chris with High Impact Audio, and I will see you next time.